Alright, I'm a little nervous since this is the first time I've streamed in a decent bit, but I wanted to look through some patch notes that Athen wanted to show. well, share her ideas, which they're definitely very interesting. I like a lot of them. There are a couple of things that I do feel are a little insane or either don't do enough, which I definitely do want to share. And I guess I'll also share my personal ideas for it. So I'm sorry, I'm terrible at speaking sometimes. Alrighty. Okay, with okay, scrolling through most of these, I like a lot of the changes. I like the idea of fizzy bomb costing 65% of the ink tank. 35 to 30 damage for the outside radius I feel is a little much, but I can understand. Splat and suction, no one really likes them that much anyway, so I completely agree. Um, Spring Sprinkler, I definitely feel like you've done a much better approach than I did, because all I ended up doing was a very because all I ended up wanting to do was a generic thing, now only having the first fire mode and increasing the damage of Sprinkler from 20 to 25. So so yeah, yours is definitely the cooler option. And curling I've already shared down here that I feel like that at 45% ink with an increased width of trail, that's a little ridiculous. So I would actually tone back the paint trail if that were to be the case. And again, again, with whatever criticism I'm doing, don't take it the wrong way. I absolutely love that people end up sharing their ideas for this. Some of them are a little crazy, but those crazy ideas can help blossom into something that's really cool. Wavebreaker, I initially thought that this was a crazy change, but in parts due to seeing a Chara post, honestly, you know what? Yeah, Wavebreaker should do 50. Wavebreaker should definitely do 50. Zipcaster, I'm just kind of nervous about arm spam, and honestly, Zipcaster, I feel like is fine right now. Like, being able to one shot with the hook is already kind of crazy in and of itself, because that means you're going to get value much more reliably, and most and Stamper also absolutely goes insane with it. Hopefully Squiffer will too, but that's hopium. Alright. Ink Inkvac, I like canceling the shot, but if the user is able to go into swim form, then I feel like these two in tandem would be completely insane. Because being able to just can't cancel the vacuum early and then being able to swim and being able to pop the shot whenever, it's basically it's basically a Zuka with a singular shot, except it moves slower, and you also have a gigantic radius that ends up showing up potentially out of nowhere, which I really do not like. That being said, this is a very interesting idea. Like if there's a way to properly work to balance something like that, I'd be all for it. Ultra Stamp, complete protection from the front, sides and back still vulnerable. Yes. 45 to 55, increasing the damage. With all due respect, I'm pretty confident that it already kills very quickly with the outside shockwaves. So I personally don't like that. Damage dealt by a direct hit in rush mode, I actually do like a lot despite that, because the increased damage for a direct hit will help with object damage, which I feel is pretty important. And decreasing the radius of the shockwaves, if you're going to buff this, then I can kind of see it, but even then, I do feel like this is a little crazy. Okay, Reef Slider is a very, very interesting changes that you have here. Traveling 2.5 times the distance sounds insane. like, I'm personally all for the idea because it's one of the few times where global range doesn't go through or around map geometry. So because of that, it's a lot harder to take advantage of. So I'm actually okay with that. Removing the delay frames, yes. Honestly, this alone might make Reslider good. Path of the Reslider destroying sub weapons, I definitely agree with most of that. Though honestly, bombs maybe not. With the explosion, the Path of the Reslider I don't think should destroy bombs, but but the explosion definitely should, and both of them should also destroy wall. Wall is super dumb into this because you can simply just block the entire path. Like what the hell? And removing all invincibility frames. You might want to be a little more specific with that because a lot of people don't really get what you mean by that. All right. Whoa. I'll admit I probably should have looked a little more into this before starting the stream because I did overlook a couple of these which I feel are a little crazy. For example, Kraken cheese. Removing the Kraken cheese, yes, definitely. Will now be automatically pushed off the tower. I'm not even going to lie, that's actually insanely funny, and even though that's probably not necessary, I like that a lot. Kraken user no longer being able to pick up the Rainmaker. That's fair. Increased damage, jump attack from 60 to 80. I actually don't think Kraken needs either of these if you remove the cheese. Like, oh wait, now that I'm thinking about it, if you're denying its ability to do stuff in Tower and Rainmaker, I can actually kind of see it for Tower and Zone specifically. Rainmaker would still be fine. Clamza would still be fine. And that's part of the reason why I personally would just increase the width of the paint trail for Kraken. And that's it. Okay. Yeah, I'm going through basically everything out of order, so sorry about that. Tri-Strike. Okay, swim form. A lot of people definitely agree with that, myself included. The strike's lasting 0.3 seconds longer. If the radius isn't increased and that means the explosions are slower, I love that because that means that the touch of death is a lot less of an issue, and that's the thing that I absolutely hate about strikes, and I can promise you many others do too. Triple splashdown, revert. Well, every single nerf is kind of pushing it because you also consider the fact that that means that it's going to lose a lot less of its special if it gets canceled out of the sky, which I'm not completely sure if we want that. And radius should be bigger by default. Agree. Radius increases the higher up you are is interesting. I'm not completely opposed to it. It was pretty cool depth back in 2, so that's not a bad thing at all. But I'm not completely sure how I feel about that. And performing the super jump, activating splashdown, but also sending 2 fists onto 2 random areas. I don't like this very much. Like, the super jump radius should definitely be bigger, 100%, but but I'm not completely sure if having the 2 fists going onto 2 random areas is very healthy or fun for anyone doing that. Also, sorry, I need a very split second. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, I said that I don't really like this, but the radius should definitely be bigger for a super jump splashdown. Alright. Okay, so splatter color screen. No longer applies to distorted visual or audio effects. Um ac Initially when I first saw this, I kind of thought, I'm not completely sure, but with the way that you're trying to approach this, now that I'm thinking about it, if it's not distorting your vision, it should do something. I actually like where you're going. I actually really like where you're going with this. This can now see through the screen. Okay, increasing damage from 30 to 45. I personally definitely want that. A slowing effect similar to Toxic Mist. That's interesting. That being said, these two I feel like might be a little too much. Destroying any sub-weapon that passes through the screen, in my opinion, is really dumb. And, okay. As for why, I feel like point sensor is just very important in terms of going through, in terms of dealing with screen, and because of that, I personally don't think that just having it be able to destroy any sub-weapon is necessarily a fair thing. And in a sense, you're basically just having a moving bubbler that protects from one very important side. And honestly, you can't see what's going on the other side. That's, at least for me, is concerning. Well, might give me an expo arc, so... Honestly, there's still definitely very interesting changes. Okay. Zuka. Increase the amount of delay before you can begin firing, but... Oh, almost a full second. Oh, God. Oh, you want to kill this, and I don't blame you whatsoever. Damn. I thought 10 frames was fine, but you're going the whole way. I don't blame you. I respect it. That being said, if you're going to do it that much, I'm not completely sure if decreasing the damage is very necessary. Radius of indirect hit nerf? Yeah, I'm all for, but decreasing the damage of an indirect hit, I don't know. I feel like that might be a little bit of overkill, but no one likes Zuka anyway, so if you think that it should be nerfed to the ground, I don't blame you. It's kind of hard to make Zuka healthy anyway. Alright. I guess I'll scroll up. Okay. Dart. Alright. Increased damage from 40 to 50. I'm not completely sure how I feel about this because I'm not completely sure if it's as rewarding as it looks like. Like, increasing the damage at the wire of 0 to 25. Okay, cool. Increased... Oh! Alright. Alright, sorry. I know I said I read this, but I didn't but I almost feel like I skimmed through it, even though I did respond to it, so... Sorry about that. Increasing damage to objects by 300%. That is really cool. It does make me a little nervous because being able to just throw 2 darts and basically almost destroy an entire Booyah Bomb is terrifying. but that's a very interesting idea, and I feel like interesting ideas are definitely what we're looking for. Though this one's a little too much. I feel like maybe toning it back to like... Oh wait, increasing damage by 300%. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure that basically just destroys a Booyah Bomb. Basically destroys a Booyah Bomb with Object Shredder. Maybe even destroys a crab with Object Shredder. Yeah, no. Cool idea, but 300% in my opinion is way too much. Increased damage duration that the line stays for 2 to 3 seconds. Yes. Increased width of the line by 10%. Oh, sorry. Wait, what's this multi-quote for? It's not important. Um, okay. So, increase width of the line by 10%. Alright. I think when I did, I put it 20%. Yeah, 20. Alright. Tracking location of a direct hit from 6 to 10 seconds. Okay. Okay, so it makes a direct more rewarding, but it's, at least to me, it doesn't feel that rewarding, because in a sense all you're doing is getting 50 damage off, which they can heal from, and they're marked, which, unless they happen to be sharking, is, at least in my opinion, is not going to be doing too much, unless, say, there's a Zuko that can instantly wipe it, which in this particular context it can no longer instantly wipe it. So Dart feels a little less rewarding in that regard. Alrighty. Okay. I feel like, did I talk about Mist? Completely stop enemies who Squid Roll and Squid Surge. Damn. kind of hurts the abilities, but I don't blame you. Prevents healing and special charging. I like a lot. Wait, I'm sorry. I talked about this. I I like all the changes. I actually really like all of your changes to Mist. Mist you handled really well. I guess I'll go to the main weapons now. Alright, I think I talked about Pencil at the beginning. Squeeze. Honestly, I just don't really like Squeeze, so I would personally say it's not enough, but up up to you. To each their own. Okay, H3. Increasing strafe speed. I can't speak, I'm sorry. By 10%, increasing minimum damage to 35. Increase the velocity of the bullets after firing by around 12%. Wait a minute. What's the current minimum damage for H3? H3. Oh, oops, wrong thing. Actually, this works. Okay, so, oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. Okay, build analyzer. H3 nozzle nose, and main weapon. No, main weapon damage. Oh my god. The minimum is only 20.5? Oh dear god. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Increase that. Increasing the velocity of the bullets after firing. Alright, by 12%. I'd personally shave off a frame or two of end lag, but that works too. Dynamo. I haven't actually fixed this for my personal patch note ideas, because I didn't think that the 6.1 buff for Dynamo would actually do good stuff, but it did, so hey, nice. Alright, made paint after for horizontal click more consistent. Honestly, yeah, just these two would be perfect. And now perform horizontal flick after using Squid Surge. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I actually don't think that this in and of itself is necessarily too crazy. Like what I mean by that, I mean like, you're not really, in that I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people going to be using a Squid Surge to take advantage of a strength of Dynamo. Which is why, in my opinion, I feel like, depending on whether you're holding B or not, is how the game would actually determine if you do a vertical or horizontal roll. At least that's what I think it should do. And and in part due to the sake of consistency, and in other part because it's not going to completely break the game, I would probably apply that to every roller. But that's just me. Anyways, swig increasing minimum from 35 to 40. I don't really know how I would personally approach swig, so whatever you have in mind is probably going to be better than what I do, so. Alright. Increasing the range that horizontal will do max damage. Okay, 15%. Cool. Goo is good, but not enough. Blob. Blob and Clash. I guess I'll talk about both of these at the same time because both of them are basically menaces at lower levels of play, and if they ever happen to be good at top play, they're going to be insanely infuriating to fight, as if they aren't already. Okay, so increasing the damage from 30 to 33. Why I don't like this? It's because you end up leading to 99, and that's really close to the 99.9 we had in Splatoon 2, except without gear dependency, which makes it even more terrifying. Velocity of each blob? I like the thought on that. Because I personally feel like that would make it a little bit better at fighting. Increasing the ink efficiency? No, with all due respect, I do not think blob needs that in order to be good. Increasing the size of each blob. I also like this, but it's also going to be but it also ends up comboing into the problem of an increased velocity and then an increased max range. Admittedly, I would actually lower the max range because if you decrease the max range, it's going to be a lot less infuriating to deal with because you can actually approach it, and the blob is actually going to be able to fight within that level of combat, which is why I personally feel like lowering the max range while increasing the velocity and the size of each blob would probably be fine. And then I guess I'll talk about Clash at the same time, because increase a width of paint. If this ends up giving it a full paint trail, then I don't think they are going to need the increased damage of direct hit from 60 to 75, which, in my opinion, is absolutely insane. Like, in terms of competitive, okay, it might be fine, but in terms of the average casual play, which I can promise you I would know from experience because I still technically am half a casual. This is hell. And the increased range is honestly fine. I kind of understand what you're trying to go with there. Alright, now I guess I'll go back up. Explo. I like... Oh! Increased damage of indirect hits from 35 to 40. That's a new one. I like that idea. Because all of a sudden, now it can combo with triple splashdown. Without having to buff the thing to 70 damage indirect. Increased object damage by 50%. I also like that. That's a lot of people want that. Dread. I actually don't like this change. As for why, I get it. It's not very strong right now, and both of its kits are bad in their current state. But with the buff that you're going to give Reef Slider, if you end up buffing Dreadringer along with this, Dread's got to be pretty broken. At least in my opinion. Because being able to go into a Reef Slider and then shooting a gigantic slosh that there's basically no response to. You see the issue here. I hope you see the issue here. Okay. Increasing the range, I'm also personally not a fan of because that means it's going to be painting even more, which is absolute madness in my opinion. It might help it synergize more with beacons though, so it's not a terrible idea, but yeah, the dread changes are very interesting, but I don't really like them because of their kit, because of the current kits. Dapples. Alright. Increased range when firing by 8%. Alright. Fire rate by 4% in both firing modes. Honestly, Dapples kind of need it because they're never going to get a kit that it actually likes. Rest in peace, Torpedo. And rest in peace, Torpedo Inkstorm. That would have been absolutely amazing. Oh man, it really would have been because now Inkstorm heals the team. Damn it, Nintendo. Anyways, increased length travel when performing a dodge roll. I was going to say this is a little insane, but you compensated for it by increasing the amount of ink consumed. Alright. Alright. Glugas. Okay. With this, I feel like it's one or the other, because if you end up increasing the damage of standard fire from 36 to 48 and increasing the size of the paint droplets while firing by 8%, it's going to actually have decent paint, but it's also going to almost always two-shot. And by two-shot, I mean be able to hit one while it's slightly moving around, and then go into turret, and then almost instantly get the second shot for an easy kill. At least to me, that's kind of insane. Like if you want to keep this, which I personally completely understand, because it's actually a really cool combo, I would actually get rid of the size of the paint droplets. VDS and CDS. Okay. Sorry, I can't speak. Bullet velocity firing by 8%. Increased size of bullets by 10%. Increased ink efficiency. Honestly, I like it. Alright. Barella and Sorella. Increasing max damage from 81 to 88. Alright. And decreasing the ink efficiency by 2.5%. Does Brella really need the ink efficiency nerf? I think it'd be fine. I think it'd be fine if it doesn't receive that and it gets a damage buff. I think it would be okay. But if you think otherwise, feel free to tell me. Alright. Next up, Undercover. Increase max damage from 40 to 45. Shields 15 to 20, I like. Oh, decrease the time it takes for the shield to recover from 4 to 3 seconds. Oh boy. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Increase width of paint while continuously firing by 15%. Increase strafe speed by 8%. I don't think it's going to need the increased fire rate with everything else, because with 40 to 45 and then damage to the shield, it's going to kill pretty reliably like that, and the two frame increase is probably a little too far. Alrighty, Luna Blaster and Luna Blaster. Okay, I can kind of agree with the range increase, because it being technically shorter range than Sploosh is a little crazy, and also it's trying to compete with Try, and Try just kind of destroys it. Though honestly, these two buffs might be fine. These two buffs alone are probably fine for Luna. Like, it has like if Stamp is ever going to be usable, it's going to have a good kit. So because Fizzy combos really well with Stamp, it also really likes as a form of continuation in a sense. Alright, I talked about Clash. S-Blast. Wow. I really underestimate how underwhelming the main weapon actually is. Like I would think it's good because it almost seems like that it's just a Luna and a range almost morphed into one, but the long range mode has such a tiny radius that looking at it, it kind of makes sense. Oh wait, increase the radius of a grounded shot from 0.2 to 1.5. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Hold on. S-Blast 91. That's weird. Maybe I don't get to see it from here. Okay. I feel like you should be a little more specific on this. 5% ink efficiency doesn't hurt. I'm fine with that. Ink brush, maximum damage. Okay, sure. Oh wait, wouldn't this be minimum? Never mind. The range, I don't think it's going to need though. With the increased mobility from from this most recent patch, I think it would be okay. Increased range that deals maximum damage. Please, yes. Octobrush absolutely needs that. Like I still remember watching the North American Championships and the Octobrush not killing Q. I'm trying to remember who it was. They were using a Zipcaster Octobrush and they ended up hitting 3 times and I need to remember the names. I'm sorry. I really should look a little more into competitive Splatoon. I feel like I'm butchering so many names today. I am really sorry. Alright. Paintbrush. Decrease the... Okay, 10 frames in my opinion is a little crazy. I don't think it needs that much of a delay decrease. Though I completely get the approach, being able to just whack people quickly isn't nice. Adding an ink resistance effect similar to rolling. Yeah. 12%. Bow I like. I like a lot of the changes. Size of paint droplets, full charge 18%. There's grounded arrow explosion. Increased damage of every arrow. Full charge from 35 to 40. Increase. The object damage for some reason is not very good for bow. So yeah, increasing strafe speed while holding down the ZR button. Honestly, they should probably just give bow a charge hold. That being said, I like the bow changes. Increase range of full charge by 12% for reflex deco. Yes. I feel like it's way too short range for absolutely no reason, so I can get behind that. Increasing time you can hold to charge when swimming to 2.5 seconds. Yeah. Now I get what you mean. That was from the charge hold. Okay, Wiper. Increased damage from horizontal swing from 30 to 33. I feel like 33 is kind of a dangerous number. Similar reason to why similar MPU and damage up reason. Like 32 I'd be fine with. 32 would be fine. Can now increase the strafing speed. I like this. But why does only Wiper get it? Like I get it, Stamper doesn't really need it, but I don't know, I'm weirdly obsessed with certain consistencies. So yeah, that's my bad. Alrighty, I'm trying to see what else. I think I talked about mine. I like that. Yeah, I think I think that's I think that's every single change I want to. I think that's every single. I think I talked about every single change idea that you had. I guess I'll share. I guess I'll also share mine and what my personal thought process is, and I'll probably actually change it a little bit because some of your ideas are very interesting, and I'm very intrigued. And I'm very intrigued on how it goes. Hold on a second. Let me just quickly go to thread. Okay. Alrighty. I need to see what else. Okay, I need to find the other one because for some reason I also ended up putting this on another on an oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. Alright, my profile. Let me see all my postings. Okay, depraved patch note ideas. Okay. Okay, I just want to say that there's a lot of interesting that there are a pretty good amount of interesting ideas that were shared. Firstly in this thread, and well, not so much in this thread, but a lot more in this thread. Well, most notably talking about Swig. This one ended up giving me a couple of really cool ideas, so I definitely want to say thank you to them for some of the ideas, especially for Clash Blaster and Luna Blaster. So I guess I'll share what I think. 52 is, in my opinion, really dumb of a main weapon because it kills faster than Sploosh. So increasing the time it takes for it to actually start killing, I feel, is something that I wanted to do, and increase the ink consumption to make the ink efficiency weakness worse. If Zap's doing 30 damage, you should not have good shot RNG. I'll just say that. That's my personal opinion on these two. Splattershot Pro, decreasing the interval of shots by a frame. I did that because Squeezer. And also, I feel like Pro is kind of weak as a main weapon in general. And being able to just kill 3 frames faster, so it's now 4 frames slower instead of 1, would be a way to kind of balance that. 96, I ended up doing a lot for, which I'm not very sure about. For consistency, I gave it the same thing as 52, but at the same time, I also made it a lot easier for it to paint its feet, and also increased its damage per shot from 62 to 69. And no, it's not for a meme. It's because of the fact that 69 is reverse 96, and a weird obsession thing. There's some things that I don't know how to really balance, so I just want to make them less infuriating. Jet Sculpture, most notably. Reduction in damage based on how long shots takes more gradual, so I'm making its fall off better. But I'm also decreasing the radius of its ink splatter because it paints a lot, and also it has 180p vac, which is insanely dumb in my opinion. Nova, I decreased the scatter of shots, so it's it's less annoying, and it can actually fight a little better. Blah blah. Luna Blaster. Okay. Can I add to personal dictionary? There we go. Okay, Luna. Reducing the unlock. I feel like is probably something that I feel like would probably be something to make Luna a lot more capable as a main weapon. That being said, I've always been conflicted on whether or not a radius buff is necessary, and I constantly get different answers. Some people say yes, some say no. So, you know what? Yeah. So you know what? I feel like just giving it some frame data. Wait, hold on. Let me find where you said it really quickly. I'm blind. Alrighty. Okay, 30. Increase the. I think 38.5 is pushing it a little bit. I feel like 38.5 might be pushing it, so I think 37.5 would be a decent compromise. Blaster. Range and regular blaster, I wanted to lower their jump RNG a bit because firstly Luna ended up getting it, and secondly and more importantly, once Cooler falls out of the meta, in my personal opinion, I feel like range is also going to drop off because it's going to need way more gear. So because of that, I wanted to make that a little less of an issue. So when Cooler does eventually die, and hopefully at some point it will, well, maybe not die, but be less oppressive, then range can kind of fit into other things. As well as V Blaster. Clash, I wanted to increase the damage a small bit because I feel like it doesn't do any damage, so I completely understand why you'd buff it. That being said, I don't think that a direct and an indirect should combo. That though giving it a mobility buff similar to Wiper is something that I personally think would be very interesting for the Clash Blaster, because in a sense it'll suddenly be similar to Wiper, except it's a blaster. Alright, next up, L3. No longer has shot RNG, increased damage from 29 to 31. I'm trying to see what I did, trying to remember what I did here. No longer has. It's trying to say, why does Google want to say it no longer has a shot ring? It's no longer has shot RNG. I don't care. Google autocorrect. Sorry. Anyways, L3 is just not great, as in my opinion, just not as good as it should be as a main weapon. I feel like every single semi-auto aside from Squeezer, well, basically every MPU weapon aside from probably just Squeezer aside from Squeezer has suffered miserably. L3 is suffering with the lack of jump, with the fact that it has jump RNG. It only does 29 damage per hit. in lightning, and it's a middleweight, even though it says L3. So I'm fixing that. Okay, next up, H3. Ink consumption, frame data, and ink splatter. I feel like is all it really needs. Just allowing it to paint a little better, so it's a little more of a support, while also being able to actually fight with better frame data. That's really it. Squeezer. Yeah, I'm nerfing the damage on. Yeah, I'm nerfing the damage on this thing. I just feel like that there's no better. I just feel like that ink efficiency is. I don't like Squeezer at all. I'll just say it now. like I think it's cool to have a semi-automatic that has two very cool firing modes, but Squeezer is just absurd in my opinion. Unlike Ballpoint or S-Blast, Squeezer is just dumb. I have no idea why it's 2 units longer than Squiffer. Alright, rant over. Alright, now being able to swap firing modes. Actually, sorry, give me a very split second. Alrighty. Okay, so... Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to rant about Squeezer. I don't like this weapon at all. That being said, I do feel like it should be accessible, so time to make use of the almighty L button. Because it's used for nothing else. Why? Oh, wait. I just realized. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. There's something that I there's actually a little bit I did overlook in the process of doing this. Okay. I need to consider the match menu. Hold on. Let me check something. Alrighty, going to pop to my game capture. Hopefully. Oh wait, let me turn off my window. There we go. No, wrong thing. Alright. Oh, so yeah, I do admittedly have Flexion. Flexion's cool, in my humble opinion. There's a fest going on. Let me go. Let me go. I can't skip the news fest. That's the real balance change they should do. go into the lobby. Okay, is minus used for anything? Oh, minus isn't used for anything. Okay, so it'd be fine. Alright. Okay, so I guess I'll go back to... I guess I'll go back to my... I guess I'll go back to... Yeah. Alright. I guess I should say... So yeah, Squeezer's dumb as a main weapon, and in my personal opinion, and also for the sake of accessibility, I'm giving the L button a reason to be used. I apologize in advance for people who use Flexion. Anyway, Carbon. Oh. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot there will still be a setting in case mashing is preferred. Never mind, it's gonna be fine. Alright. Carbon. Can now choose between vertical and horizontal by holding B. I actually did this with every single roller, but Carbon is the one that's probably the most concerning if I do it, because if you end up yeah, that means it's able to do a horizontal flick while it's in the air, and a vertical flick after jumping while you're holding the B button, technically, while it's on the ground. Thinking about it, it's actually kind of concerning, but I think maybe something could work. I think maybe it'd be okay. Like, Carbon Roller Deco is strong, but it's not that strong. I think it would be okay. And increase maximum damage horizontal from 100 to 115. Honestly, it doesn't really need this that much. Might make the vanilla kit a little better, but it really doesn't need it. I could probably get... Honestly, nah, it doesn't need it. Alright, Splat Roller. For the sake of consistency, I'm also giving this. Dynamo Roller, there's a reason why, is the reason why I ended up giving this, so it's actually able to use this horizontal. And I'm trying to double check. Increase minimum damage of vertical flick. Yep. Ground splash range increased by 10%. Damage... Oh wait, hold on. You really... Honestly, the damage of Dynamo is honestly pretty good right now, so... I guess I'll say specifically damage before with the vertical flick. So it's a lot less of a wet noodle. Increase radius of ink splatters at their points of impact by 20%. And... damage is fine on Dynamo. Damage is fine on... the horizontal is fine on Dynamo, and it doesn't feel like it needs any sort of ink consumption nerfs. So honestly, yeah, this should be fine. Flingza. My approach for this was to make the vertical flick worse and to make the horizontal better. Like, adjusting distance to horizontal swings, able to make the I'm making the short range do more, and I'm making the vertical paint a bit less. Though 5% might honestly not be enough. Probably 7% actually, because it has a whiting frame buff now. Alright. Swig, I'm admittedly kind of hesitant to change because it might just be fine and it's just unhealthy in the current meta. Ink brush. Yeah, I just wanted this accessibility thing. Octobrush. Same thing, but also increasing the damage from 40 to 42 for same reason as to why you increase the where maximum damage is. So increases throughout rolling. So the fact that Trisaucer outranges this is still very dumb to me, but some say that's honestly fine, which I don't understand. But oh well. Pain. Yeah, same accessibility thing. Decreased startup. I don't think Paintbrush needs that much. Every single one of the traits is good, aside from the fact that you need to wait 23 frames to do anything. Once that hurdle is less of a problem, it's going to be very strong, in my opinion. Squiffer. Honestly, greater mobility is just cool for this. All of the chargers wanted to lower a lot of ranges and to compensate decreasing their charge time and this is for the sake of allowing Splatlings, bow and Explo to actually be a bit more possible to pick over a charger. I can't speak today. Alright, goo. Light and weight class from middle to lightweight. Increased damage to non-fully charged shots from 40/130 to 145, 145 respectively. Reaches maximum range after the first ring is charged to make... Yeah, I like what I did here. Okay, pencil. Yeah, I'm nerfing this. I'm nerfing this thing's range like crazy. 14%. Decreasing width of paint trail 10%. Damage from fully charged shot. Because of these two things I ended up doing, I feel like it does deserve to have 70 damage combos, and also decreasing the charge time by 2 frames. I feel like that would be okay if I'm nerfing the range by 14%. Try is just overbearing compared to Octo and Luna, so I wanted to tone this back a little bit. Very lightly though. Machine's fine, but it doesn't feel good to play, so yeah, giving it 2 extra frames but making it paintless should be fine. Blob. I wanted to make it easier to avoid, but make it more rewarding if you did get hit by it. Like increasing the size of the bubble just makes it a little more threatening. Increasing the damage of each bubble would make it more threatening. But decreasing the amount of bubbles in general to make it more possible to deal with. And also, while it is going to be 10% faster, I'm decreasing its lifetime, so it's going to be a net nerf in range. Expo, I think might need... Expo, I think I approached this fine. Like, increased velocity, increased knockback to Kraken, increased damage to Crab, tank armor, decreased radius of the... and I slightly decreased the radius of the splash. Man, I gotta wrap this up soon, unfortunately, so... just trying to look through everything. Mini, middleweight to lightweight. Okay. Hydra, I wanted it to paint just a little more so it could actually trap targets and also get Booyah a little faster. Not I just feel like is way too easy compared to Squiffer, and just to make it a little less rewarding, I wanted to tone back the damage a little bit. Edit. Edit takes way too long to charge, so making it a little faster should be fine. And most of the dualies, I thought it would be cool if you did happen to have the drop roller ability. You can make it act as if it was a dodge roll if you were holding ZR while dropping, and it doesn't consume a roll, so it actually makes sense to run it. And otherwise, Glugas, I feel like it didn't really know what to do, so I ended up making the shot velocity decrease while firing a little less of an issue. I think continuously firing in turret mode. Dually Squelcher is, looking back, it needs way more than what I ended up giving. I'll work on that. I'll work on that later. Tetra. Do Tetras really need more? I don't think so, but Brella should just get its old damage back. Then it's gonna be fine. Undercover. 15 to 25. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I ended up doing. Not too many changes for undercover. Inkling Stringer wanted to make the bullets a little stronger. And otherwise, curling, I feel like I should probably make cheaper than 55, but 55 should at least help it work with many more weapons. Missed, opponents still under the effect for 2 extra seconds, and special depletion. And special depletion is something that I had in mind, but it's a little weird to execute, so I'm not completely sure how to approach it. I feel like your approach is definitely better. Sensor really didn't do much. Sprinkler not only has first firing mode, increasing its damage from 20 to 25. Fizzy should not be 60. Fizzy should be 65, 100%. Dart. I initially thought of special point stealing. It's an interesting concept, but I'm not completely sure how well it's going to be in execution. Changes to special weapons. Zuka, I feel like should be fine if it's increased to 65, but increasing the startup. But you know what? I feel a lot more comfortable doing this, 40/60ths of a second. Decreasing the damage splash radius by 8%. Also reducing the output by having the special gauge continue to drain even after firing the final shot, similar to missiles and Chump. Bubble, make it throwable. I think that would be cool, and if thrown, it doesn't have a beacon, so it's not going to be dumb. Missiles, I made a very weird rework. User now glows brighter than before while missiles are firing, giving me a better indicator. I did that so you can actually kill the missile user while they're firing the missiles, and hence why I increased the firing duration as well. I decreased the range that they can fire them from. And I also made it more rewarding to go for one or two targets, but less rewarding if you went for the entire team, just to give them a little more incentive to target less people. Inkstorm, I initially had a lot crazier ideas, but after the heal buff, I feel like just giving it sub-resistance should be fine. I feel like just having another thing that's just able to help you deal with bombs a little better is kind of cool. Booyah wanted to have a little more supportive utility while also making its gigantic radius a tad bit smaller. Kraken, simple, just deny the cheese, allow it to paint a little more so it can so it can help with taking so it can kind of help with taking zone. Wave, increasing the HP of it from 400 to 550 is thinking about not going to be enough. And you know what? I'm actually in favor of increased damage of waves. And I feel kind of hypocritical because I said that 50 was kind of crazy, but you know what? 55. Alrighty. Next up, Inkvac. I can't spell either, apparently. Alright. Increasing maximum suction by 15%. Some may fill it up faster. Lose 3 points per second. This will still... Anyways, as for my process with this, I wanted Vac to have some other kind of power counterplay if say a transformation special was trying to deal with it. For example, Inkvac would do really well into Kraken. You could potentially catch a jet in it. That being said, it's not going to be very useful for the rest of them because Zuka's going to be very far away anyway. Crab is also going to be also going to be far away. Actually, it would be very strong into Booyah. Jet would be pretty far away. Stamp would instantly destroy it. Yeah, and this I just wanted to give it extra utility so it's not necessarily trapped where it is if it happens to get stuck in enemy ink. But to compensate, decreasing this radius to make it a lot more reasonable to avoid at the end, and also to make a cheese zone less. Well, I just wanted it to help. I just wanted it to. I initially thought creating an audio disturbance, but that would be way more annoying than just causing the sounds around them to be lower. Inkjet just a light nerf. I'm also going to give a slightly heavier nerf to Crab just to make the standard of special strength a little lower. Hammer, just full frontal protection. Crab, decreasing range of both firing modes by 4% should be okay. And reducing the duration to 7.5 seconds, but special power-up still scales fine. Reef Slider, ignoring walls. Okay. Can now negate bombs in its explosion. There we go. Can now... I ended up having a slightly more... I kind of wanted to put gear dependency on Reef Slider in a sense, so this is why I ended up doing this. And also increasing its startup because its startup is kind of dumb. Strikes have touch of death, so I wanted to do this. It also slightly decreased the radius and allow it to enter swim form. Yeah. Cooler, remove the special saver, decrease the QR and QSJ. And now is UI, so yay. Jump, decrease time for decoys to explode. Increase number of decoys from 12 to 14. This one is a weird one. I feel like it would be kind of cool, though. Okay, what are with these typos? There we go. Okay, splatter color screen. Yeah, fairly light stuff I did here. TSD, also not too much. I'll go into abilities probably later, but right now I unfortunately don't have the time to go over it. Anyways, go follow Athen on Twitter. She's really cool. Anyways.